part of that research that you did, I think there was some surveying done about budgets.
Yeah.
What are you seeing, and any surprises there in terms of budget and how AI foots to that, either the technology budget, or is it going to become its own budget at some point in time?
The report that we wrote begins with an introduction about the negativity bias, both online and in the press. And I think that that's something that I've seen a number of times now, where so I've been asking about I've been asking the question, how did your company do financially last year, in every survey we've done for the last 3 years. And it's always better than whatever you hear. And, when we ask about company growth, it's always better than whatever you hear. When we asked about budgets, it was much better than what you would expect, as in, budgets are growing on average. Well, let's put it this way, 96% of marketing budgets in our survey grew. Now, the most common growth level was, down in the 5 to 10% range, depending upon which segment you're looking at. So not a lot of growth, and maybe that only keeps up with inflation. But that is not the same thing as shrinking. It's clearly not. We've been through shrinking, and that's different. And then, there are quite a few companies that did experience strong growth and did have increased budgets. So when we saw the numbers that came back and said, companies grew and budgets grew pretty substantially, we were super skeptical. And I don't want to go out and say stuff that makes people laugh at me. So, we went to ChatGPT and said, pull 150 financial records from public companies, technology companies, manufacturing companies, and others. We went to friends in VC and PE firms and said, what can you tell us about your companies and how they performed? And then we compared internally different sources. So we had sources where, some were our customers, some were LinkedIn and those other sources, and some were panel survey responses. And there are differences between how those audiences reported, but every audience had growth in both revenue and budget. And the biggest growth area that we saw was from a PE firm, portfolio companies, and it's not what you expect necessarily. So I think that was real, right? And we took pretty great pains to make sure that we weren't going to be going out and saying stuff that people would just laugh at. But it is different than what you hear all the time, and so I think it's important to, again, just a grain of salt. If you're in the LinkedIn universe all the time and you go to marketing events, you're going to hear a lot of things. Mostly what you're going to hear. I won't say mostly what you're going to hear, but there's a bias toward the negative, and that isn't necessarily how things are going. And I think it matters because, we feed off each other. And when everybody is hearing and doing negative things, then maybe we decide, we're not going to budget for that thing this year. We're not going to spend that money. And when you do, one of your comrades who's out on LinkedIn telling you that things were going well now says, oh yeah, but we got a bunch of deals that fell through. We don't want to be our own worst enemies. And I've heard a lot of that.